Hello everyone and welcome back to our videos. Today we will talk about the main parts of airplane. The main parts of the airplane are fuselage, wings, empennage, landing gear, and the engine. Also, we will specify some things that you can find it on the fuselage and the things that you can find it on the wings and in the empennage. For example, in the fuselage you can find the cockpit, the cabin. On the wings you can find the flight controls like flap, ailerons. In the empennage you can find the horizontal stabilizer and the vertical stabilizer. The essential components of an airplane are a wing system to sustain it in a flight, tail surfaces to stabilize the wings, movable surfaces to control the attitude of the airplane in flight, and a power plant to provide thrust necessary to push the vehicle through the air. Provision must be made to support the plane when it is at rest on the ground and during takeoff and landing. Most planes feature are an enclosed body, the fuselage, to house the crew, passengers, and cargo. The cockpit is the area from which pilot operates the controls and instruments to fly the plane. The first part we will talk about is the fuselage. As a definition of the fuselage is the main body of airplane. The fuselage houses a cockpit where flight crew operates the aircraft, and it houses cabin, and the cabin area is the area for passengers or cargo. If the aircraft is meant to carry passengers, the cabin is typically equipped with seats, galleys, and lavatories. In this configuration, cargo and baggage are placed in deducted cargo area or bit in the lower part of the fuselage. The second part of the airplane is the wing. When air flows around the wings of an airplane, it generates a force called lift that helps the airplane fly. Wings are countered to take maximum advantage of this force. The wings have two types of control surfaces attached to the rear or trailing edge. They are referred as ailerons and flaps. The aileron is a primary flight control. The flaps are a secondary flight controls. Ailerons extend from about the midpoint of each wing outward of the tip. They move in opposite direction. When one aileron goes up, the other goes down. Flaps. The flaps extend outward from the fuselage to the midpoint of each wing. They always move in the same direction. If one flap is down, the other is down. As we see in this figure, the outer from the midpoint to the tip is called the ailerons. And as we talked, the ailerons, it will move opposite direction. What's meaning moves in opposite direction? That means when this aileron goes down, this aileron will goes up. and these they are extended from the root of the airplane to the midpoint. It called flaps, and the two flaps will goes in the same direction. When this flaps goes down, the second flaps will goes down. Some larger aircraft employ spoilers on the top of the wing to disrupt the airflow and reduce lift. Spoilers are used both as flight control to aid the ailerons in rolling the aircraft and as air brakes to slow the aircraft during landing and roll out. The third component or part of airplane is the empennage. The empennage consists of vertical stabilizer or vane and the horizontal stabilizer. These two surfaces are stationary and act like the features on an arrow to steady the airplane and help you to maintain a straight path through the air. And this the vertical stabilizer, and in the vertical stabilizer we have a primary flight control called elevator, and here we have the vertical stabilizer, and in the vertical stabilizer we have a primary flight control and it called radar. The radar is attached to the back of the vertical stabilizer as we say before in the previous figure. This the radar. To move the airplane's nose left and right. So the function of the radar is to move the airplane's nose to left or right. Actually, the radar is used in combination with ailerons during flight to initiate a turn. The elevator is attached to the back of the horizontal stabilizer as we said before, and we see here this our elevator. The elevator during flight used to move the nose up and down to direct the airplane to the desired altitude or height above the ground. Stabilizer. The stabilizer have a one base horizontal stabilizer that pivots up and down from central hinge point. This type of design called stabilizer requires no elevator. The stabilizer is moved using the control wheel just as you would the elevator. Here we say a horizontal stabilizer and it's fixed, and this type called stabilizer. The stabilizer must have anti-servo tap. So an anti-servo tap is mounted at the back of the stabilizer to provide a control similar to what you experience with an elevator. Without the anti-servo tap, control forces from the stabilizer would be very light and a pilot could over control the airplane. And this is the anti-servo of the stabilizer. Some aircraft merge two flight controls into one system For example, some beach bonanza models aircraft, as we see here, have radar vectors. The radar vectors that combine radars and elevators into one control surface. Depending on control inputs, the radar vectors move in the same direction for yaw control and in opposite direction for pitch control. Still, other aircraft combine spoilers and ailerons into spoileron to provide roll. This the spoilerons. Also, some delta wing aircraft merge elevator and aileron functions through control surfaces called ailerons, and this the ailerons.